Hi, everyone. So what I will do, I'm very pleased to be here. Ermias, HST, the Ethiopian Family Business Forum, thank you for the invitation. It's always a pleasure to be here, to be back to Addis, even though it's going to be a very, very short stay for me, less than 12 hours. But I'll look forward to coming back next time to meet with friends and colleagues. So next panel will discuss governance within family business setups. So how, in a family business, how do we look at governance, how we implement governance, both at the corporate side, at the business side, but also at the family side. Actually, these are the two main pillars for a strong family business. Before I invite my panelists to the stage, I have a very short presentation. I'll take you through the presentation just to set the stage for the discussion, give you some background, and then I will invite my panelists, and then we'll start the panel discussion. So family business is really a space in which I've been working very closely and very intensively over the last few years, especially since I joined IFC. And I find it very fascinating, to be honest with you, because in addition to what you see in any normal business, when I say normal, non-family, finance, strategy, competition, and so on and so forth, you have an additional layer, because family businesses, they face these issues, right? It's a business like any other business, but on top of that, in addition to that, you have the family layer that adds more complexity to the business and to the family. So these are quotes or, I don't know, statements, I don't know how to call them. One is a Chinese proverb, the other one is purportedly Scottish, so wealth does not survive 3 generations, shirt sleeve to shirt sleeves in 3 generations. So you get the idea is, the wealth does not go beyond 3 generations. And this applies a lot to family businesses. And these sort of statements or quotes, you can find them everywhere. I know that there is something similar in Brazil. There are things very similar in other parts of Asia, in Europe, across Africa. So this is something that, an idea that we have, that family businesses, they don't, go past the 3rd generation. Why? We'll go into those discussions later on. But, the average lifespan is less than 1 generation. In the US, the average lifespan of a family business is 24 years. Which is very, very short. It's not even 1 generation. But the numbers we have, the data we have, show us that on average, a third make it to the 2nd generation. So if you have, basically assume you have 100 companies that are set up today, okay, registered today, in less than roughly 30 years, a third of them will make it. So basically 67% will not make it to the 2nd generation, which is a lot. It doesn't mean that they disappear, they go bankrupt. Some of them are bought up or bought out by other investors or other competitors, but many of them go bankrupt, actually. So 10% go to the 3rd generation, and roughly between 3, depending on the data, how the data were collected, and the numbers we're looking at. So 3 to 5% make it to the to the 4th generation. So again, this idea of family businesses not being able to go beyond the 3rd generation, or a very tiny percent go to make it past the third generation. Okay, so we know that. Just let's focus on the big picture, okay? Big picture is, in most markets, we know that family businesses don't make it, or very tiny portion make it to the 3rd or 4th generation. That's one. But we know at the same time that family businesses are the major driving force of any economy in the world. Actually, sometimes we believe that even markets like the US or Europe are heavily dominated by non-family businesses. Actually, it's not true. They are heavily dominated by family-owned businesses, and even those who are listed, control is generally and still in the hands of the family. Like, think about the Walmart family, who still controls the Walmart group, for instance, in the US. There are a lot of other examples. Even LVMH, I think they still hold less than 40% or roughly 40%, but they control the group as well, or the Fiat. The Agnelli family with the Fiat Chrysler and so on and so forth. Or we can go on with the examples. So roughly 70% of Annual global GDP comes from family-owned businesses. Between 50 and 80% of jobs globally are within family or created by family-owned businesses, and roughly 25% of market capitalization. So I don't remember from which study this is taken and which market precisely we're covering, but 25% of market cap are family-owned businesses. So it's a dominant force. So despite the fact that they don't survive the third or fourth generation, it's still a dominant economic force in most of the markets we are talking about. And it's a major force, share price. What we also know is that it's not only a dominant force, but they also outperform non-family type of businesses. So the Credit Suisse used to do they call it the 1,000 family report. So Credit Suisse does not exist anymore, so I'm not sure about the report. So this is taken from a study that they did just to see whether how do family businesses compare, or how do they perform against non-family owned businesses. And actually over a period of roughly, 18 years or 16 years, they outperformed. So the upper curve, our family represents the share price of family-owned businesses. And they outperform non-family businesses even on other measures like EBITDA margin. They are higher and consistently higher than non-family owned businesses. And why do they outperform? We know the reasons. This is what some researchers call the socio-emotional wealth, commitment of the family to the business. This is something that is quite unique. Whenever you meet with family, business leaders, the sense of commitment that they have to the business is extraordinary. Some of the clients I worked with, I've always been impressed by the way, the sense of commitment that they have to the business. Some of them, they spend their time, even weekends, leading and working in the business. The long-term view in decision making. One data is very fascinating in this regard. When you look at the CEO turnover in family-owned businesses and non-family-owned businesses, there is a huge discrepancy. So a non-family business CEO, average turnover will be somewhere between 5 and 8 years, okay? Family business CEO, on average, it's 25 years. So it tells you that it's very complicated from family businesses to manage succession, and we'll talk about succession later on. But at the same time, if you are leading a business for 25 years, you take the long view. So that also helps when it comes to building performance over time. And obviously the desire to build a legacy for future generations. So if you are a family member leading a business or working in the family business, your objective is to provide or to build a legacy for the next generation. Is not to get as much dividends as you want. In those instances where you are in a family business where the family members start thinking about dividends, maybe that's the decline, the peaceful decline of the business. But generally the objective is really to build a legacy over time. And then there is a very strong commitment and attention and care to the reputation, to the name of the family, and to the identity of the family. And those are elements that build the performance of the family and the family business. But there are other issues that come with this setup as well. Again, I mentioned the additional complexity because on top of all the business challenges that a business, even a family business, faces, you have the family relations that come on top and add more complexities and conflicts to the relationships, even within the business. Oftentimes, lack of formality. Maybe some of you work in family-owned businesses. Family members join in the business without having a TOR or a job description. Weak governance. Oftentimes, family businesses, they don't have strong governance. Why? It's not on purpose, but because they are so much committed, involved in the business, that sometimes they don't need strong governance because they control everything. Actually, they are aware of everything. I mean, I do remember I met with one of my clients when I was in Asia, and he told me, look how successful. He built something really big, one of the biggest groups in Indonesia at that time. He said, look, without governance, this is what I was able to build. Why do I need governance? So, obviously there is a different discussion in those instances. Conflicting roles, you are a family member, you are a shareholder, you are a director, a board member, a manager. You are different, you wear different hats. So when you take decisions, which hat are you using to take decisions? Very difficult to choose the hat, especially when you have family emotions and emotions that come into play when you take the decisions. Temptation towards intentional ambiguity, sometimes to avoid conflicts among family members. People tend to put things under the carpet. If there is a problem or a conflict, we don't want to talk about it to maintain family harmony. So that over time, that what we call intentional ambiguity builds up, and it could jeopardize the harmony within the family. Dividends versus business growth. At one point in time, second generation, third generation, some family members are not involved in business, others are. Those who are in the business, they want to grow the business, so they tend to keep as much cash flows as they can. Those who are not involved might need dividends. And that's a big tension in many family businesses, especially from the second, third generation onwards. That creates a lot of issues. And then the last one, just to close with the last one, succession. One of the biggest challenges for family businesses. Why, again, when you look at the average tenure of a CEO of family business, 25 years, it means that succession is not an ordinary course of action. If you go through a succession every 25 years, it means that you're not used to it. It's very complicated, and then it's complicated because sometimes you have to choose among family members. So I'll close with this one before going to the panel. So this is something that I really like because it gives you what is important in a family business setup. In a family business setup, you have two pillars: the family and the business. And the key, and when I say the key, is to maintain the balance between both, between the performance of the business and how profitable the business is, and how healthy the family is, and the unity of the family. The key is to maintain the balance. And actually, there is no magic recipe. It's very difficult to maintain that balance. How can I provide enough to the family so as they don't jeopardize the business itself? And how the family can act and get itself together so as not to jeopardize the running and the operations of the business. How to maintain that is very complicated, but what we know is to be able to create that balance, you need structures at both pillars. And the structures that you need to build are strong governance, board of directors with independent people, so people who are not part of the family, so they can have an objective, independent judgment. You bring in professional management, because sometimes we don't think about it, but most family businesses are made up mostly of non-family managers. Number of family managers is very limited in terms of percent compared to the non-family members. So you have non-family managers. So these are key people that you need to focus on as well and take care of. And then on the family side, you also need to build strong governance within the family meetings, build a constitution, rules, codes, family assembly, family council, and so on and so forth. So these are the schemes or the systems or the practices and the rules that you need to build, what we call rules and institutions. And the objective of the panel now is really to discuss in the Ethiopian setup where we are, what is the state of play, and if we take the long-term view, what we need to do today and tomorrow to build families and family businesses that have these two pillars. Okay?